Hiya crafters, Amy here, and today I am participating in an EDS syndrome awareness hop. So we'll talk more about that throughout the video here today. But to get started, I'll show you the products that I'm going to be using on my card today. I have this Grumplings rubber stamp set from Tailored Expressions. I have an A2 size card base of 110 pound cardstock. I have this beautiful 6x9 rattan stencil from A Colorful Life Designs. I have some mini ink pads from Catherine Pooler. This is the Carnival Party collection, and I have some blending brushes. Now, the reason for this hop, my friend Al and Michele have put together this hop to raise some awareness on the Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Now, this syndrome has to do oftentimes with connective tissue throughout the body and skin, and it can cause a myriad of different symptoms throughout the body. Now, both these lovely ladies have been diagnosed with EDS, and they wanted to do this hop to raise awareness about it. So the reason for the zebras, which you'll see is the theme throughout all of the videos that are linked in this hop, is that oftentimes doctors are kind of conditioned to look for the common and not the unusual when diagnosing patients. So they'll call it a zebra diagnosis, meaning if you hear, hooves behind you, you assume it's a horse, but it's actually a zebra. So it's kind of a clever way to tie in the fact that it's a zebra diagnosis. And then also January 31st is the International Day of the Zebra. So they chose that day as well for this hop. So back to the card for a moment here. I did some simple ink blending through that gorgeous stencil, and I will link all the products that I used in the video description box below. So if you expand and scroll down, you'll find all that information there. I also have a coupon for the stencil. If you shop, you'll save 10% on your complete order. So here I'm just using some Copic friendly ink to stamp down the zebra, and I do it a few different times because I want it to be a nice, even, rich, dark black stamp on the cardstock. So back to the EDS hop. This is a giveaway. I will link all of the details of that giveaway and what you need to do to be entered in the video description box below. So again, just expand and scroll down. But there will be giveaways on both Alison and Michele's channels. So be sure to follow the links to all the videos in the hop, and I will put all that information below the video so you can check that out there. And I will also link to more information where you can learn more about EDS, because that's what this is all about, right? Learning about it and having awareness, because it seems from what I've put together as I've been trying to learn more about it, it seems like a lot of people may be suffering with this condition and haven't gotten it properly diagnosed. So it may benefit you maybe in that way to kind of read up on it and see if maybe that could be the answer to some of the issues that you may be having. So, but if not, it's good to know about, and I'm happy to support my friend Al in this endeavor. And yeah. So back to the card, I'm just using some Copic markers here. Whenever anything is plain white, I'm usually going to do some sort of highlight. So if it's white, I might do like a really, really pale, almost non-existent gray, or if I want it to look more icy, maybe like a very, very, very light blue. But here I just kind of started off with the coloring with this light, cool gray, and I just kind of went down to give the image kind of a round look before I started coloring in the other elements of the zebra. And I just have a few different cool grays here. I think I had 3, maybe 4 with the very light one. And I'm just kind of filling in the detailed parts of the stamp. Now you may have noticed I did swap out the chisel end on my gray markers. I will probably eventually go through all of my markers and switch out the chisel end to the fine point, just because I don't really use the chisel, and this fine point is more firm than the brush side of the sketch markers. So it really allows you to get in those little nooks and crannies and stay inside the lines easier. So I did actually make a prior video about how to swap out these tips, and I can link that in the video description box below if anyone wants to check that out. But it's just kind of a way to use your Copics a little bit differently if you don't really have a need for that chisel side of the marker. But here I'm just working through. It's very simple coloring. Obviously, zebras are just black and white. I have this little light pink color that I used on the inside of the ears. And I'm just kind of creating little highlights with the coloring, and then I have an actual gel pen to create more highlights. I'm just going to go right over in spots. No real rhyme or reason here. I'm just kind of adding it to the hooves in a couple little spots just to give it a little bit more interest. Very simple coloring here, guys. Now, she probably does have coordinating dies at Tailored Expressions, but I don't have them. So I'm just going to get my little fussy cutting scissors out, and I'm just going to fussy cut this little guy out as best as I can. Now, I don't mind fussy cutting, so I know some people absolutely hate it, but this wasn't a particularly difficult little guy to cut out, so it wasn't a big deal. But as you can see, I'm not turning my scissors so much, I'm turning the paper. And that's the real trick, is just turn the paper, not your scissors, and then you'll get a smoother fussy cut. And then also what I did there, I just kind of cut that extra paper out of the way because it was just cumbersome and getting in the way there. So just kind of following the edges here, and then I'll cut that little guy out and kind of put everything together. Got them almost cut all the way out. And these little fussy cutting scissors are my favorite. Can't think of the name of them right off the top of my head, but they do a really good job, and they don't hurt my hand unless, you know, I'm cutting a ton of stuff, which I guess I don't do all that often, but they work for me. So get that and get the little scraps out of the way. Now, I had taken my little wonky stitched rectangle dies from MFT. That's where I cut that little tiny rectangle that I stamped the sentiment in. That's what I showed you earlier. Gave it kind of a cool, fun, finished edge, and it was the perfect size to stamp that sentiment in. So I'm just using some foam tape and putting that behind both the sentiment and the little zebra. And I have little tiny fiddly bits here that I'm struggling with, trying to get them behind the ears and the tail to give it some support. And then finally, I'm just going to add some liquid glue down in odd numbers. I have 3 on the top, and I'm going to do 2 on the bottom, and then I'm just going to use my jewel picker and lay down some larger and smaller size of these white iridescent sequins and just kind of put them along the front of the card. And that basically finishes my card today. I appreciate you joining me for this important hop. Be sure to expand the video description box below to find the details of the giveaways and where you can find that information, and hop along to the other amazing artists along the way. So I hope you enjoyed this. I appreciate you joining me for this special occasion, and I will check you next time. Have a great day. Bye.